So, Bernie Sanders says that Americans have the right to be angry. Oh boy. About what specifically, Mr. Sanders? Should be interesting, shouldn't it? Oh boy.
Senator Bernie Sanders issued a scathing statement after the vice president's loss in what he called a disastrous campaign, saying, quote, "It should come as no great surprise that a Democratic Party which has abandoned working class people would find that the working class has abandoned them." And Independent Senator Bernie Sanders of Vermont joins me now. Senator Sanders, welcome back to Meet the Press.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being here on this Sunday after Election Day. Let's start right there. Your criticism.
He got head chips falling on his collar. I've had that before. Got moistened the scalp, Barney.
Incredibly direct. You say you think the Democratic Party has, quote, abandoned the working class. How exactly do you think Democrats have abandoned the working class, Senator?
Look, the working people of this country.
She's staring into my soul. Look how she's looking at us. She's staring right into your soul, ain't she? Woo! Who was you last night? All right, now listen. I wasn't doing nothing. Okay, I swear to God, I was with Craig. I didn't. Oh my God, we went to Wild Wing with Buffalo Wild Wing. Oh, you ain't gonna eat. Okay, I see how this is going. You ain't gonna even believe me. Okay, I'm gonna let you calm down, and then we'll talk. Don't you?
Look, the working people of this country are extremely angry. Mm-hmm. They have a right to be angry. Mm-hmm. In the richest country in the history of the world, today, the people on top are doing phenomenally well, while 60% of Americans are living paycheck to paycheck.
I'll tell you this. You know how we could solve that? Do you know how we could truly solve that? If we taught everyone how to financially have to take care of themselves financially. We raise everyone's financial IQ. If we did that, everyone would be all right. You teach everyone about saving their money, investing their money. You teach them about business ownership. You teach them about taxes, how to save money on taxes, what taxes you got to pay, what taxes you don't got to pay, whatever. Okay? People lack a fundamental they lack a fundamental understanding of everything financial. They don't make it mandatory for us to learn this. Your ears perking up? Your antenna? They don't teach us this in high school and elementary school mandatorily. Is that even a word? It's not mandatory to teach us this stuff. You have to search it out. I remember reading somewhere there was like, there's enough money in the world for everybody to be millionaires. Okay, so if everyone was millionaires, unless you're an idiot with your money, you'll be okay. You're going to be okay. Okay, so that's the main reason. Okay, that's the reason that they sweep over in a lot of politics. They're not teaching us to be truly healthy, and they're not teaching us to be truly financially wealthy. That rhyme day to play the game. Bars!
And millions of families worry that their kids are actually going to have a lower standard of living than they do. You got the top 1% owning more wealth than the bottom 90%.
He talks like he's a character. My cousin does an impression of him. The this, and the that, and the... He does a really good one. My cousin James, you've seen him on the show before. I used to do a lot of wrestling reactions.
The only major country on earth not to guarantee health care to all of our people. 25% of our seniors are trying to live on $15,000 a year or less. We have the highest rate of childhood poverty of almost any major country on earth.
Wow.
And the gap between the people on top and everybody else is getting wider and wider. And then, Kristen, on top of all of that, we got a corrupt campaign finance system which allows billionaires to buy elections. So if you're an average worker out there, you're saying, hey, I'm working longer and longer hours, going nowhere in a hurry, worried about my kids, And yet the people on top have never had it so good. Where is the Democratic Party? Are they prepared to stand up to these powerful corporate interests, raise the minimum wage?
Yeah, like I told you guys before, like when I was coming up, Democrats were supposedly for the people, people that weren't rich, and for black people. They were for black people and for people that weren't rich. And Republicans were always for rich white people. I remember that.
Fight for health care for all people. Make sure that all of our kids get the quality education that they need. Expand Social Security.
Bernie done went rogue.
Are they prepared to do those things? That's the issue that we have to address.
Well, as you know, your statement was met with some sharp reaction as well. This is what Speaker Emerita Nancy Pelosi had to say. Take a look. I'll get your reaction on the other side.
Bernie Sanders has not won. Let me, with all due respect, and I have a great deal of respect for him, for what he stands for, but I don't respect him saying that the Democratic Party has abandoned the working class families.
I was watching something the other day, and they were talking about how Bernie really should have been the nominee way back when they put Hillary in. They kind of placed her over him when he should have won. I don't know the details of that, but help me out with that. Either type below or send me a link so I can find out.
Senator, how do you respond to Nancy Pelosi?
Well, Nancy is a friend of mine, and we've worked together on many issues. But here is the reality. I have to say to Nancy, in the Senate in the last 2 years, we have not even brought forth legislation to raise the minimum wage to a living wage, despite the fact that some 20 million people in this country are working for less than $15 an hour.
Okay, so Trump, Harris, Bernie.
In America today, we have not brought, in the Senate, we have not brought to the floor the PRO Act to make it easier for workers to join unions. We're not talking about defined benefit pension plans so that our elderly can retire with security. We're not talking about lifting the cap on Social Security so that we can extend the solvency of Social Security and raise benefits. Bottom line, if you're an average working person out there, do you really think that the Democratic Party is going to the mats, taking on powerful special interests and fighting for you?
No.
I think the overwhelming answer is no, and that is what has got to change.
Senator, let me zoom out and just ask you about these results. You've heard some of
They're
the...
going to send some dudes in black jackets and ties and sunglasses to see him. I guess you're going to have to calm down on that. Okay, Mr. Sanders? We were told to say we won't say this again to you. Okay, bye-bye then.
Reaction throughout the Democratic Party. How much do you personally blame President Biden for this loss?
President Biden, when he came into office, said that he would be the most progressive president since FDR. And I think on domestic issues, not foreign policy, on domestic issues, he has kept his word, and the agenda that he has pushed through has been an extraordinarily strong one. But that agenda has got to be placed within the overall context of American society today. And that American society today is one in which tens of millions of working families and elderly people are struggling, while the people on top have never had it so good.
But Senator, should he have gotten out of the race more quickly, as some are arguing?
I supported him because I think his agenda was a strong agenda, a working class agenda. I'm not going to look backwards. Kamala ran a strong campaign. She did everything that she could.
No, she didn't.
She decisively won the debate. So to me, it's not just about the campaign. It's about what does the Democratic Party stand for? Do ordinary people say, yeah, that is a party?
People saying if she had a running start, like if she had started earlier, she wouldn't have won, that she would have won. False. Okay, false. She flounders too much with questions. She had a lower approval rating than Biden. So you're going to bring someone in with, look, there's a few things I could spout off, but I don't think so. Would the race have been closer? Possibly, but I don't think she would have beat him. They should have had their norm. They should have went through the normal process and came up with a candidate. That's what they should have did. And for some reason, I don't think she would have been the candidate if they went through the normal process.
that is fighting for my interest and prepared to take on the big money interests who control the economic and political life of the country.
We're
That's to
talking.
me what the issue is.
Yeah, we're talking.
I'm going to start talking like this to Scarlo. I'm going to say, Scarlo, what I need you to do is I need you to go upstairs and I need you to remove your clothing. I need you to uh, put on something sensual for me. I need you to dim the lights. I'm going to come up there and we're going to make love. That's what I need to start doing.
Talking a lot about the economics. You've talked about how the Democratic Party is out of touch when it comes to economic issues. Some
She's in
Democrats
trouble.
are
I'm Bernie all night after this.
saying it's not just economic issues, it's cultural issues as well. Here's what Democratic strategist James Carville had to say. Take a look.
What killed the Democrats and what killed Biden was a sense of disorder. And part of the sense of disorder was the unfortunate events of what I would refer to as the woke era.
Mm-hmm.
Has the Democratic Party's focus on identity?
The woke has destroyed so much. People are sick of it. We've had so much woke, it could choke a donkey.
Politics gone too far, Senator?
Let me answer it this way. I think
You know.
if the Democratic Party must continue to stand up against all forms.
And no one's had a problem with diversity for a while. The majority of Americans haven't had a problem with diversity in a while. As a matter of fact, I argue that things have been massively diverse for a while now, and they're pushing it like it hasn't been. It's very strange. The problem is how they push the woke ideology. Okay, it's how they do it. It's not that they're making things diverse, is that they are making things perverse. They are changing things about the characters that people love, that they run to for escapism from the real world garbage and troubles that they're going through, and yet they are implementing it into these characters. And there's nothing wrong with putting real world stuff in, but they fill it to the brim when people don't want it in areas that they don't want it in, that it really shouldn't be in all that much. And if it was in certain sections, like I remember when I would read certain X-Men comics, you know, they were more political than Spider-Man was. Okay, you get that? So I get it. Maybe putting certain politics, it may be more so into something like X-Men. But you would keep it out of other. It's just like everything that they're preaching and pushing like a religion, they're shoving it into everything, no matter what it is, and people cannot stand it.
Some bigotry. And Democrats should hold their head high in saying, we led the fight for women's rights and to protect the woman's constitutional right for abortion. We led the fight for civil rights, for gay rights.
How can you be happy to lead a fight for someone to be able to unalive their own child, their own unborn child developing in the womb? How? You can't be that and be religious at all. I know that. You absolutely can't. You can't tell me that you would sit in front of God and tell him, well, I thought you thought it was okay for us to kill the unborn. If I ain't had the money, God would look at you like this.
Right. That is something we should be proud of. But it's not
What was the other one?
rights for gay rights. That is something we should be proud of. But it's not either or, Chris. And this is the problem. You can do both. You could say that I'm for raising the minimum wage to a living wage, guarantee health care for all people, expanding Social Security. And by the way, I also support a woman's right to control her own body, etc. It's not either or. It's
What about the infant, the baby, the fetus, his right to life? What about that? What about that, Mr. Sanders? What about that? I don't get that. What about the baby's right to life? And in certain states, if you kill a woman that's pregnant, you get charged with double murder. Wait, I thought it wasn't a life.
going forward in both directions.
I've been speaking to some Democrats who are concerned because now President-elect Trump has beaten two women candidates, and their concern is that it will make it more difficult to nominate a woman candidate in the future. Do you share that concern, Senator?
Will it make it more difficult? I don't think so. But maybe, because if it's right what I said earlier about them placing Hillary over him when he really should have got it, and then all of a sudden just placing Kamala Harris without going through the normal procedure of finding a candidate, it definitely could. It definitely could. However, I think if you get the right woman, like Tulsi Gabbard, if you get the right woman, I don't think it's going to be a problem. People did vote for Kamala Harris, and Hillary won the popular vote. The country's ready for a female president. It's just y'all effed it up, period.
No, I don't. I think it's not a question. Look, I'm not going to deny that there is sexism in this country, that there's racism, there's homophobia. It's there.
Yeah, none of it went against Kamala.
Yeah. But on the other hand, I think what the American people want to support, whether it's a woman, a man, a black or a white, or Latino, whatever, is they want to support somebody who is standing up, Kristen, and fighting for them. People
That's the truth.
are in pain.
Absolutely
People
right,
are
sir.
hurting. They can't afford to go to a doctor.
Absolutely right, sir.
Their kids to childcare or to college. They're worried about future generations and what kind of standard of living they will have.
See, me and him having church right now. See, I'm a guy that leans right. I'm a conservative person. I am not a Republican. I'm not registered to vote. None of that stuff. Okay? I can agree with both sides on certain things. Okay? But my mentality is more on the right. There's a lot of just wild stuff that's on the left, especially the far left and the far right. You know what I mean? So, but there's a lot of wild stuff that I just can't get with.
Here is the bottom line, and it has to be dealt with. You got an economy today doing phenomenally well for the people on top. It is not working for the working class. All right? How do we address those issues? And in the richest country on the history of the world,
start giving free financial classes to everyone who would like to attend through the government. That's what I think. For anyone that wants it, free seminars from the government. And once you pass, you get assistance, you get business loans and all that good stuff. And I think it should run from probably high school on. And if you, it's something, it would be something new. So it's like just plenty of people that's not in high school. So anyone that wants to join and take these classes gets to take it and understand things financially, from opening a checking account to a savings account to maybe to CDs, to getting car loans, house loans, to opening a business, to all that stuff. I think they should start teaching it for free. Do you know how powerful the economy would be if you taught everybody?
Economy that works for all. That is the issue. And by the way, what Trump did in his election is to say, I know that you're hurting, and the reason is they got millions of people coming across the border illegal. They're eating your dogs. They're eating your cats. He gave an explanation. It happened to be a pretty crazy explanation. Yes, we got to strengthen the borders, but that is not going to raise...
They're eating the dogs. They're eating the cats. I got to hear that again.
Hurting. And the reason is they got millions of people coming across the border illegal. They're eating your dogs. They're eating your cats. He gave an explanation. It happened to be a pretty crazy explanation. Yes, we got to strengthen the borders, but that is not going to raise...
I would love to have like an hour-long conversation with him just about anything that would get him hyped. Anything that would get him hyped. I need him amped.
Wages for working people will provide health care to all people. The Democrats need an explanation. And that explanation is...
He's a friend you call to get cheered up. Just because the way he talks and how animated he is, he's a character. You know what I mean? You call him to be happy.
Corporate greed and the power of the billionaire class. I know that's uncomfortable for people in the Democratic Party, some people, but that is the issue we have to address.
Senator, quickly before I let you go, I do want to ask you about the Supreme Court. Some Democrats behind the scenes quietly talking about the possibility, should Justice Sotomayor step down, to allow President Biden to appoint someone who's younger.
Other than Tommy Sotomayor, that's the first time I've heard that name again.
She's only 70 years old. Is that something that you would support? Do you think she should step down?
No, I don't.
There it is.
Have you heard any talk of this?
A little bit, yes. I don't think it's a sensible approach.
And you don't think it's a sensible approach?
Why did he get so quiet on
All right.
that?
Senator Bernie Sanders.
Wait a minute. Why did he get?
I don't.
Why did
You
he get
heard
so?
any talk of this?
No, I don't.
Why did he get
And
so
to
quiet on
appoint
that?
Someone who's younger. She's only 70
You scared?
years old. Is that something that you would support? Do you think she one who step down to
The people in the Democratic Party, some people. But that is the issue we have to address.
Senator, quickly before I let you go, I do want to ask you about the Supreme Court. Some Democrats behind the scenes quietly talking about the possibility, should Justice Sotomayor step down, to allow President Biden to appoint someone who's younger. She's only 70 years old. Is that something that you would
Justice
support? Do you
Sotomayor.
think she should step down?
According to Wikipedia,
No.
Sonia
I don't.
Okay.
Have you heard any talk of this?
A little bit, yes. I don't think it's a sensible approach.
And you don't think it's a sensible
Why is he
approach?
so quiet now?
Correct.
That was strange.
All right. Senator Bernie Sanders, thank you very much for your time this morning and your perspective. We really appreciate it.
Thanks for watching. Stay updated about breaking news.
I hope it wasn't fear. Post comments down below. Let me know what you think. And if you enjoyed my video, hit the like button, subscribe, and share. 10 million subscribers. Woo!